Gun control versus the Second Amendment. Whew. Suffice it to say, I'm shocked this is even an issue, but given how it's been politicized over the years, I shouldn't be. However, that doesn't mean this third rail cultural issue isn't addressable via the same approach as I have for the debate on abortion. First, find a structure for a truce while we work to gather data. Second, study the data, understand where mutually beneficial policy can be made. And third, apply it with regional, or in the case of abortion, personal determination versus religious and moral differences in mind. On a February trip to Houston, I ended up in a debate with an ardent Second Amendment supporter. Since I was as well, our discussion had the potential to be pretty cut and dry. It wasn't. And that was because we were debating using completely different sets of facts and coming to different conclusions about what should or should not be done. Since we couldn't possibly both be right, we agreed we would support legislation that blocked any gun control measures or deregulation of guns while that data was collected by the state and analyzed by neutral third parties, which, by the way, exist. Second, we discussed the difference in gun culture that occurs with a simple 10-mile drive from the city into the country. For me, a loaded weapon next to the bed is a given, and this may be a shock to some of you given my background, but I would not willingly lock it up given how far out in the country I live, the distance I am from help, and the fact that my farm's animals are a magnet for predators. But I personally abide by my own gun control process to balance the utility of a weapon with my responsibility to others. It's just based on where I live as opposed to a blanket order that applies statewide. That said, any legislation that came from the data collection process outlined in my proposal would take regional cultural differences into account, and local voters would be able to decide the end structure that they wanted, not necessarily the more populous urban centers that can push that measure based on their numbers. And finally, because I'm a bit of a tech geek, I added in a voluntary app that would allow people to understand the variability in regional gun laws to avoid any problems with the law. And that app, given my data security background, would be encrypted in a way that even if the state wanted, it could not decode to use as a pseudo-monitoring or registration system. There's quite a bit more. Good policy isn't summed up in a one-liner, so take the time to read through. Might be an eye-opener for you. Thank you.